Nike just released a brand new commercial featuring Caitlyn Clark and her new Kobe shoe that she released today. There's a shot when she's in the locker room and she opens her eye and it like turns into what looks like a snake eye, but when you zoom in, it's actually the Kobe logo in her eye. And as you know, Kobe's nickname was the Black Mamba. I just felt like across the board, this commercial was a 10 for 10. And a lot of people have been getting on Nike because they don't feel like they have been promoting Caitlyn as much as they should. But I will
pushed to her absolute breaking point after one devastating loss. One coach has finally exposed a crisis brewing within the WNBA. This isn't just about a single bad game. It's about a pattern of shocking disrespect, biased officiating, and a league that seems determined to undermine its own biggest star. This is the story of how one team's collapse pulled back the curtain on a systemic failure so profound it now threatens the future of the entire league.
So Caitlyn Clark's signature PE Kobe Bryant shoes came out today. Now, news is coming out that the shoes, like I stated, was sold out in about 10 minutes. With all that being said, man, I ain't wasting no time. Let's head on over to X, pull it up right now. Now we do know Caitlyn Clark Nike commercial dropped yesterday as well, and a lot of people probably didn't notice, but it was a reason why that Nike commercial dropped yesterday when it dropped, because it was to go coincide with the signature Kobe PE shoes that came out. Now,
it was supposed to be a turning point. On a tense Saturday night, the Indiana Fever were poised to secure their first 3-game winning streak of the season. With just 1 minute and 43 seconds left on the clock, they held a solid 87-83 lead over the Los Angeles Sparks. The home crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse could taste the victory. After a season of close calls and heartbreaking losses, this win was meant to signal that the team had finally learned how to close. Instead, they witnessed a complete and total system failure.
In incredibly surprising news, Nike has decided to push the button on Caitlyn Clark in a way that I think represents an increase from anything that they've done thus far. We've, followed on the channel for quite a while about the lack of promotion, the lack of merchandise, the lack of everything kind of for, Nike support of, presumably their most valuable athlete right now.
The Fever's offense, which had been clicking all night with Aaliyah Boston dominating the paint for 23 points and 12 rebounds, suddenly went ice cold. Shot after shot clanged off the rim. Passes went astray. The confidence that had carried them through the game evaporated into panic.
And we've been waiting now for how long to get something from Nike on Caitlyn Clark? How long has it been? Has it been a year, a full year, for us to get something on Caitlyn Clark that is specific to Caitlyn Clark? And they do it hand in hand with the drop of the new sneaker that she has, for which I'm going to include in this conversation, because let's be real. Nike has dropped the ball incredibly when it comes to anything and everything related to Caitlyn Clark, including...
In a horrifyingly swift turn of events, the Sparks mounted a devastating 6-0 run, methodically picking apart the Fever's crumbling defense. The final buzzer sounded on an 89-87 loss, leaving the entire arena in stunned silence. This wasn't just another defeat, it was a perfect storm of failure that felt like a microcosm of their entire season, a painful public reminder that no matter how hard they fight, something always seems to go wrong in the moments that matter most.
So we all know this was the scene yesterday. Actually, it was the Kobe Bryant logo in her eye, wasn't a snake. I thought it was a snake eye. That's hard. Shout out to CC the Press, man. No, it was Soul Retriever that caught it. Wow, everybody thought it was a snake eye. It was Kobe logo. Now, this is the post that we're talking about. Now, this came from NBC, and I'm guessing this is overseas because the date don't add up, because it's not July 1st here in the United States. It's Monday the 30th right now.
Amid the chaos of the final minutes, one single moment crystallized the deep-seated frustration felt by the Fever and their fans. It became the defining image of a broken system. As the Fever's Lexi Hull scrambled for the ball, she was knocked to the ground by Kelsey Plum of the Sparks. It was a hard, physical play, but what happened next went far beyond the bounds of competition. As Hull attempted to get back to her feet, Plum, in a stunning display of disrespect, deliberately and aggressively stepped right over her fallen opponent.
Nike finally delivers Caitlyn Clark PE. Is this the first Caitlyn Clark exclusive Nike commercial since she's entered the WNBA. I know she's made a cameo here. She's made a cameo there. She was featured as part of this rollout here, featured as part of this rollout there. But is this our first official Caitlyn Clark solo commercial since she has joined the WNBA?
It was a taunting, demeaning act designed to assert dominance, the kind of Bush League behavior that has no place in professional sports. In any self-respecting league, this would have resulted in an immediate technical foul, if not an ejection. But the WNBA officials, who had been making questionable calls all night, did the unthinkable. They did nothing. They ignored the blatant aggression, called a jump ball, and allowed play to continue as if nothing had happened. To make matters worse, Plum was later seen on camera screaming at the officials, yet she received no penalty for her outburst. This one incident was the ultimate proof of the double standard that has haunted the Fever all season, a glaring example of how their opponents are allowed to cross the line with total impunity.
On about Caitlyn's bigger than this. She's like, why are they doing Kobe Bryant shoes and all that? From, some people. Other people were excited about it. Like, what this represents is like Nike tying her with an already kind of iconic basketball brand, which is like their, one of their biggest brands that they have, and then rolling that into what will be her shoe later in the year that a lot of people are talking about. And these things are going to sell incredibly crazy.
The most bitter irony of this entire fiasco is that the player at the very center of the WNBA's universe was forced to watch it all unfold from the bench. Caitlyn Clark, the generational talent who has single-handedly elevated the league's profile, was sidelined for her 5th consecutive game with a persistent groin injury. Her absence created a vacuum that the team simply couldn't fill in crunch time. Without Clark's otherworldly court vision and her unique gravity that pulls multiple defenders towards her, the Fever's late-game offense became stagnant and predictable. But Clark's injury isn't just bad luck, it's a direct consequence of the very issue at the heart of this controversy.
Was due. I feel like in the past month or so, they had been tweeting about Caitlyn more, and then obviously with this shoe release, they made this super sick commercial to promote it. And of course, just today, Caitlyn Clark's new Kobe PE shoe sold out in less than a minute. And I saw so many tweets about this, so many people who were so sad that they missed out on this shoe. I saw that there was this one Dick's store and people were lined up around the corner, like camping out, trying to get the shoe. I also heard that Nike stocked about 14,000 of these, and that is an unconfirmed report. But
from her first game, Clark has been subjected to a relentless campaign of physical aggression. She has been hip-checked, shouldered, and thrown to the ground by opponents in what many see as a league-wide effort to welcome her to the pros. The problem is, the officiating has consistently failed to draw a line between tough defense and dangerous targeted attacks. This constant barrage of uncalled fouls and hard hits has taken its toll, leading to the injury that now keeps her off the court. The league has failed to protect its most valuable asset, and the loss to the Sparks was a direct result of that failure.
But the Fever star, for those who don't know, her own player edition of the Nike Kobe 5 Protro released in Fever colors. Woo! Woo! Sold out within minutes. Yes, that's right. And yeah, they had a few more available than they did for Asia Wilson's signature shoe. And I think Nike is, now that they actually have a timeline for the Caitlyn Clark signature shoe, they're starting to change things up just a little bit with Caitlyn Clark.
With the officials refusing to protect their star player, the responsibility has fallen on her teammates to act as her bodyguards, a role no one has embraced more fiercely than Sophie Cunningham. She has become the Fever's de facto enforcer, a folk hero among fans who admire her willingness to stand up for her teammates. Earlier this season, during an explosive altercation with the Connecticut Sun, Cunningham was ejected and subsequently fined for defending Clark from overly aggressive play. She later stated, "I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do." Her jersey sales skyrocketed as fans rallied behind her loyalty.
So the WNBA player Caitlyn Clark has a shoe deal with Nike to sell Kobe Bryant sneakers. They released yesterday and they sold out within 5 minutes. And the only thing I have to say about this is Angel Reese could never. I'll keep comparing Angel Reese to Caitlyn Clark. It's not a competition. Caitlyn Clark's ahead by miles. He was the #1 draft pick for a reason, people. There are men in the NBA who have shoe deals, and they can't even get their shoes to sell out as fast as Caitlyn Clark.
Now, contrast her punishment with the complete lack of consequences for Kelsey Plum's actions against Lexi Hall. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. When a Fever player defends a teammate, she is penalized. When an opponent physically targets and taunts a Fever player, officials look the other way. This glaring double standard sends a chilling message to the entire Indiana roster. You are on your own. It creates a toxic environment where players are forced to either absorb the punishment or risk fines and ejections for fighting back, all because the league's officiating is fundamentally inconsistent and biased.
So let's take a look at this video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to drop the video for you on Caitlyn Clark. Yes, there's some cute things in the video, but realistically, it doesn't do much for me. Let's take a look. So here is the actual commercial. Take a look.
No one understands this systemic failure better than head coach Stephanie White. This isn't a new fight for her. She has been waging a lonely war against the WNBA's officiating for years, and her patience has finally run out. Earlier this season, she was hit with a hefty fine for publicly calling out the unbelievable disrespect her team endures from officials after controversial losses to the New York Liberty and Washington Mystics. In a moment of raw, unfiltered honesty, she revealed a damning truth. She brings up these exact same officiating concerns every single year during official league meetings, only to be met with empty promises and zero action.
If you are hoping to get your hands on the Caitlyn Clark version of Nike's Kobe Bryant sneaker, you're out of luck. They are out of stock. The WNBA star teamed up with Nike for a player edition of the Kobe 5 Pro Tro, decked out in Indiana Fever colors. You see them on your screen. They dropped at 10 a.m. Monday, and they sold out before 11 a.m. In fact, in just minutes. The $190 kicks are already showing up on the secondary market at close to double the retail price.
Her fight is not that of a sore loser complaining about a few bad calls. It is the crusade of a leader who sees a deep systemic problem that the league refuses to acknowledge. Her frustration boiled over in a recent press conference when a reporter asked for her thoughts on the officiating. With biting sarcasm, she shot back, "Do you want me to get fined again? Because I did just get the last one." Her willingness to risk her own money to speak this truth proves her commitment is not just to winning games, but to demanding a standard of fairness and respect for her players that the league has so far been unwilling to provide.
Is part of her 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike. Think about that, folks. Now I don't know in this, I'm going to just be upfront because I don't want to mislead. I don't know if in that statement he's, thinking about including other things that, ancillary stuff that comes off of that shoe and sort of making it a merchandise thing, sort of the way the Air Jordan brand became a thing above and beyond the Nike Air Jordans that came out at first, and if he's kind of lumping all that together. But that is a massive amount of money, folks. That is
For anyone who still doubts the legitimacy of the Fever's complaints, the numbers provide a statistical smoking gun that is impossible to refute. The evidence of a clear bias isn't just anecdotal, it's written in the league's own official data. In an absolutely shocking statistic from the 2024 season, Caitlyn Clark was the victim of 6 of the 34 total flagrant fouls called across the entire WNBA. Think about that for a second. Nearly 18% of all the most dangerous fouls in the league were committed against one single player. This isn't just an anomaly, it's a clear, documented pattern of targeting. The data shows that opponents are taking liberties with Clark that they don't take with other players, and they're doing it because they know they can get away with it. This is further proven by the fact that the Fever are consistently one of the teams that attacks the rim the most, yet they remain near the bottom of the league in free throw attempts. They drive into the paint, absorb contact, and the whistle remains silent. The numbers don't lie. They paint a clear picture of a team that is being officiated by a different, harsher set of rules than their opponents. The Indiana Fever's struggle has become a mirror for the entire WNBA, reflecting a dangerous conflict between its meteoric rise in popularity and its deep-seated institutional failures. The story is now defined by its key figures: Stephanie White, the Warrior coach risking fines to fight for justice; Sophie Cunningham, the loyal enforcer forced to police a game the referees won't; and Caitlyn Clark, the targeted phenom whose historic talent is being jeopardized by the very league she is elevating. This crisis in Indiana has exposed a league at a critical crossroads. Will its leadership finally heed the warnings and implement the changes necessary to ensure fairness and protect its players? Or will they continue to ignore the cries of disrespect and allow inconsistent, biased officiating to sabotage their brightest star, alienate their passionate new fan base, and ultimately fumble this once-in-a-generation opportunity for greatness? The future of the WNBA may very well depend on the answer.